show their love in times of trouble, not in happiness. Connectedness to others is another characteristic, another factor we found among the first responders. Think about this. When things go wrong in our life, who's there to help us through? Who just shows up? We don't have to ask them. They just show up. Now, I moved here from New York. But one of my friends who still lives in New York, her husband is a New York City police officer. And he's a downtown unit, and they were one of the first units on the scene on 9/11. And some weeks had passed, and I gave a call to see how he was doing. One of the things that I was told, and back then we weren't doing resilience work, but I just kind of never forgot it, and it makes sense to me now. One of the things he said was on his way home every day, they lived in Brooklyn, he had a place where he'd stop his car and he'd pull over and he would have himself a really good cry. And the reason he did this, he said, was because when he gets home, he needs his wife and he needs his children. And his wife needs her husband and his kids need their father. And if he didn't find a way to manage that emotion, to let that out of him, what would happen, as most of us do when we hold stuff in and we don't release it and deal with it, we disengage. And the more disengaged we are, the less we can deal with what goes on in our lives, because we're not managing the emotions and we're not connecting to others who can help us through. When things go wrong in life, we need those people. We need what I call that 2:30 a.m. phone call person. You know, that person that if you broke down your car in the middle of the night, you can pick up the phone. Usually we all have that one person in our life who'll be there for us like this, help us out, as we'd be there for them. My concern nowadays, especially with younger folks, is that we're disconnecting because we're relying so much on technology. We're relying on text messages and 140 characters on Twitter and 160 on Facebook, and we're not having that face-to-face connection. We're not hearing a voice on a telephone. We're clicking little words, not even fully spelled words to one another. In schools, we see this. When they're coming in for interviews, many children are struggling because their ability to communicate face-to-face, that connection, has been breaking down. So that's something we have to be really mindful of. And it's tough when we have busy lives. And we say we got a lot going on. And it's like, oh, I just don't have time to get together. Oh, I don't have time. But we have to learn to make time. Even if it's a 5-minute phone call, or meeting somebody for a half an hour and having a glass of wine or a beer or a cup of coffee. Make time to keep those connections strong. Because in times of trouble in your life, in stressful times, they'll show up.